A major winter storm is starting to unfold across portions of the United States, and this is going to stretch all the way from portions of western Montana all the way back into western and potentially later into eastern Ohio. In today's video, I break down what you need to expect if you are in the path of this winter storm. And looking right now at radar and what radar looks like, we can see here that we have a ton of snow already falling. And did not mean to do that, but you can see here, ton of snow already falling, and snow is really starting to file in across portions of North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, into portions of western Iowa. And we are still seeing that change from rain over to snow back here in Nebraska and western Iowa. So we're watching that. But if we go and play latest radar imagery, you can tell some of that is finally starting to shift over to snow. And if we go ahead and turn on our winter weather alerts, you can tell here we have a slew of winter weather alerts in effect right now. Some winter weather advisories all the way out from Idaho, expanding all the way down into the St. Louis metro. And this is just across a very large area. Winter storm warnings are highlighted in that pink. As you can tell, 3 different areas that we have winter storm warnings. And winter storm watches over here in the blue. And these could definitely be shifted eastward into farther into Ohio, I should say, as our storm system does progress throughout tonight. Now we're going to be taking a look at what radar could look like as we head throughout the rest of the day into tonight. And you can tell this is what radar currently looks like. This is as we head into the afternoon. More snow is just going to fill in and begin to push to the east. And here's a look at the totals that we could get here. You can tell we are going to be seeing a widespread 1 to 4 inches with locally higher around 5 to 7. And then we're going to go over those higher totals here in a moment. Here is a look further to the east, and we definitely could see a bit of a wintry mix to bits of ice along the Kansas, Nebraska, Missouri border. And then that is going to eventually change over to either rain or snow. Really just depends on where this freezing line sets up. And then the storm moves off to the east and into the northeast. And here's a look at the totals that we could get out of this system. And as you can tell here, we're going to be seeing a widespread in this area that we're looking at. A widespread 10 to 15 inches with isolated 18 to 22 inches being possible. As we get further east, those totals do go down. But east of, we're going to say, central Illinois, we're going to be looking at a widespread 3 to 10 inches. And as we head into Ohio, we're going to be looking at a widespread 1 to 3 inches with isolated 4 to 8 inches being possible. And with that, we are going to be seeing that potential for some ice, as you can tell if we look in here. We're going to be seeing a widespread glaze to around 2/10 of an inch of ice being possible. Then another glaze to around 2/10 of an inch of ice being possible back there in southern Illinois. Now, we're going to be watching a potential another winter storm as we head into early next week, but that is all going to be dependent on what happens with this winter storm that we are going to be experiencing today, tomorrow, and Sunday, before as we head Sunday through Thursday of next week, another potential winter storm. And this is a look at the jet stream as we head into the weekend, and it kind of brings that cold air, but it's kind of not far south. It's not as far to the south as it once was. So this right here is our system, and timing is it's so unclear right now. It's kind of been shifting back and forth, but timing is going to be key to this event. And this is what the latest short-term model runs are showing. We get this storm to pass through. And then here's our next storm setting up on Monday morning. And this is going to fill in across a very large area between Monday to Thursday of next week. As you can tell here, short-term model guidance does not go out far enough, but it does have this pocket of snow here. Light snow, but like I said, timing is going to be so key to this system. And this is a bit of a more zoomed in picture for our system next week. And you can tell here, we are going to get bands of that heavier snowfall being possible. As we pull this out farther, we definitely could be seeing a widespread winter storm across Kansas, as we are going to be getting more crucial data in over the next 24 to 48 hours. That could definitely bump these totals up or bring them down, and it could also move it north or south, east or west. But right now across Kansas, we're looking at a widespread 1 to 4 inches, and then we could get a dusting, it looks like, across portions of northern and central Oklahoma. Now, keep in mind, this is all bound to change, and totals are not to be set in stone, nor are the places that this will occur. This is a look at the GFS on this system and what it could do. And it's kind of picking up on kind of a ice event too, back here in Arkansas and eastern Oklahoma. Then our snow event across portions of Missouri, Kansas, Iowa, Wisconsin, Illinois. So it's going to be an interesting storm. And like I said, timing remains so key to this, as we are going to be getting this moisture pull, our freezing line, which is going to potentially be leading to that ice, and then snow up here in the north. But this system has just been wobbling back and forth between areas. So I'm not ruling anything out yet. Potentially a nor'easter as well could get going there. But I really am not ruling anything out in this area. That is not a good highlight. I'm not ruling anything out across this area, as I do think lots of scenarios are going to be possible. And this is a look at the snow totals that we could actually get into the northeast. And this is on Sunday, the snow that will already be on the ground. And then as we head into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you can tell the snow totals are going to start to go up as our system comes through. You can tell it's picking up on a widespread around 3 to 6 inches, with isolated 8 to 9 inches being possible. So it's just something that we have to keep our eye on, and that's the GFS model. Here's the European model on this system, and it is showing a bit of a different story. So there's still lots of model discrepancy. As you can tell, the European model, unlike the GFS, has the system back here into Oklahoma City, whereas the GFS kind of has a fine cutoff at the OK Kansas border. And by OK, if you don't know what I mean Oklahoma. But that Oklahoma-Kansas border, it is where it's cut off on the GFS, whereas the Euro has it going down into central Oklahoma, so we're watching that. The CMC model has a pretty decent ice storm. I would not really be paying attention to the CMC model much. I'm just showing it as it is a widespread scenario that could happen, but overall low chances of this happening, as our main models that we are wanting to look at right now are going to be the Euro and GFS, as those are our more accurate models. The last model I want to show is the UK Met model, and it is showing kind of the picture that the GFS is painting, and then it heads into the northeast. So really there's a 50-50 shot of pretty much anything right now, as certain models are showing the same thing. Like, there's tons of models in agreement with the European model, and that would be in disagreement with the GFS, but there's also a ton of models that are in agreement with the GFS model that aren't in agreement with the European model. So lots of scenarios are still on the table for next week's storm. This is a look at our winter storm severity index, and this is the probability of seeing winter weather, or at least having winter weather driving conditions, I should say. And you can tell here it is going to be likely across a very large area over the next 48 hours. And as we head farther along, I did want to show you, because this is quite interesting. Back here in Kansas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, this is going to be Tuesday at 6 a.m. Central. You can tell we have a widespread area that we are going to currently be expecting winter driving conditions, which means that the Weather Prediction Center is thinking we are still going to be getting some winter weather as far south as potentially Oklahoma City if we look here, as they have this is about a 60% chance of winter weather driving conditions back there in Oklahoma City. And here it is around almost 100% chance around Wichita and Emporia. So we're watching this closely as well, and that's going to stick around. That is by 6 p.m. we are still seeing high chances. And then even by Wednesday morning at 6 a.m., we still have about 40 to 50% chances that we will be seeing winter driving conditions. Before, as we head into noon, those chances begin to deplete. But then another interesting thing is that it looks like we could be getting another shot on Thursday of some more winter driving conditions, and we are going to go over that real fast too. This is a look at the GFS model, what could happen next Wednesday into Thursday for those potential winter driving conditions back there in Kansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, Arkansas. And it is all going to be because this little wave of energy right through here that is going to bring that light snow. We already had snow on the ground, so it's something we'll have to watch. Not a high chance right now, but things could definitely change. Before we end off today's video, I did want to go over the severe weather threat for tomorrow. We do have a marginal risk of severe weather back there in portions of Arkansas, Louisiana, and Texas. And surprisingly enough, we do actually have a 2% tornado risk back here in southeastern Texas and western Louisiana. 5% wind and 5% hail risk is in play tomorrow as well. Here's what simulated radar could look like tomorrow. Does not look like too high of a severe threat. We're going to get these storms pushing along a boundary south. We're going to see some storms start to fire up across portions of southeastern Texas and spread into Louisiana. Damaging winds and large hail look to be the main threat, with a isolated tornado risk being possible. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you guys did enjoy today's video, please consider dropping a like and subscribing. And there's the potential that we are live later tonight for a briefing and live winter storm coverage. Along with there's the chance for a second video. So make sure you have notifications turned on to get notified if and when we do go live and when another video is posted. With that said, I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.